Hello, Sooner Nation. It's a Saturday night in Oklahoma, and we are live on YouTube as we are not just Saturday night. We're even open more than Chick-fil-A, Jay. We do this every night. Any night that ends in Y, we're here to talk to you, Sooner fans out there, anyone who joins really, and in the comment section that keeps these comments rolling through. But yeah, OU scrimmage yesterday at 5. I know there's people talking to the media tonight. I see a lot of comments on here. I really don't even want to comment on some of these, but yeah, Jay, what's up, man? It's great weather here in Oklahoma.
Great weather. Good to be back. Being able to have my camera on tonight. Glad to be back. Hopefully I don't have any issues with the connection. Should be good. So excited. Saturday, officially 2 weeks away from actual college football. Now, I've watched some NFL preseason this weekend. It's been nice to watch it. A little Spencer Rattler this evening. Eric Gray looked great in the Giants yesterday. So just kind of good. Caleb Williams played today. There was that. But let's talk a little college football. I mean, listen, as far as the scrimmage, the only thing I've heard, because I'm not on boards, we all know that. We talked about it. But I have heard people say on Twitter and stuff about the defense looked really good. Not surprising. We talked about this the other day. The defense should be ahead of the offense, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, Caleb Williams was 4 of 7 for 95 yards. But, Jay, earlier –
really good throws. He had some really good throws.
Sooner fan put his OU's 3 toughest games this year, and that was kind of what was on the graphic to guide some of the discussion. But he's got Texas and then at LSU and at Ole Miss. I do think Texas is on my list of top 3. I also have LSU as my list on top 3. I have not chosen the third one, Jay, because I'm in between. I'm going to shock some people.
You want me to tell you my 3?
Yeah.
Texas, LSU.
Yep.
Tennessee.
At home?
Yep.
Well, mine's a shocker, too, because
that's my 3.
My third one's Auburn.
Okay.
First SEC road test. No one's got Missouri on it, Sooner fans.
Surprising. No, not at all. Not at all. My only 2 I could interswap would be Ole Miss and Tennessee. I just think that first SEC game against Tennessee with the defensive line they got, I know their defensive backfield is weak, but they got a really good front of the defensive line, and OU's inexperienced offensive line. It's the first Jackson Arnold SEC game. I think that could be an interesting game. Ole Miss, here's the thing. I think Ole Miss is a good team.
Miz has
somebody's going to have to tell me and show me when they've really showed up in huge games. Now, last year they did a little bit, but not – they got – I mean, who wouldn't have got smoked? But smoked was Georgia smoked them by 52-17 or something.
Mez had Auburn on his as well. Bobby's asking for the criteria. I mean, I guess you can –
whatever you want. I mean –
It's whatever you want, but I do think that you can base criteria on different things. I mean, if you're going strictly talent, Auburn's not going to be on that list. If you're going atmosphere, I do think that.
Hey, who was 11-1 last year?
I think he's saying Ole Miss, Jay.
I don't believe they were 11-1, Bobby.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Am I wrong on that? I thought they had 2 losses.
They definitely weren't 11-1.
Exactly. Bama and Georgia, the 2 teams they played that were any good.
It's who they always lose to,
No,
Jay.
Here's the thing. They had a lot of close games last year. They beat LSU in a very close game, I think 55-49. They beat Arkansas by 7. I mean, they had some close games too, is all I'm saying. They didn't just go destroy everybody. They beat A&M, I think, by 3 points. So they did only have 2 losses. I'll give them credit for that. But I think if you look at them consistently, they haven't just they haven't just played really good against the great teams and very good team, like good teams, I think.
What's up, Braden? Colin says, what day was the single happiest day of your OU fandom? I mean, it's pretty easy.
It's hype on the Orange Bowl. I mean, that was I'm sitting there in 2000 probably at what? I'm like 20, 21 years old or whatever it is. And so
you were 20. You were 23, Jay.
23, whatever. I'm just saying that was probably the hype of it. That was the best game as far as how I felt. Josh says, I don't think it's so much the opponent. It's typically us. Who would have thought we would have? That's it. But when I say toughest opponents, you could base it off who's the 3 toughest opponents on the road. You could pick who's the 3 toughest opponent talent-wise, as Bobby did. I'm going by, I think, the 3 games I think they're going to be toughest as far as going into the game and winning, because I do think the Tennessee game being the first SEC game is going to be a very tough game. And you picked Auburn in that same way, as that could be a very tough test on the road. I mean.
Yeah, Sooner Freak asked about injuries. Look, no one's commenting on him, so I don't know why. I'm not even going to say anything on him. It's ridiculous. Like, yeah, we're the same age, Lori. And, hey, go ahead, Jay.
We had somebody comment on the live last night after it was over about who needs to know about injuries. They're not public. Nobody needs to know. Here's the thing where I stand on it, okay? I understand public doesn't need to know, but they put it behind message boards, and that's fine. I get it. But if a guy, if it's all over public knowledge that a guy got injured, I mean, Jaden Gibson, it's out everywhere that he got injured, right? So it is kind of public knowledge because everybody knows about it, but nobody knows what the injury is, and there's nothing to report. And part of that is Brent Venables isn't accessible to the media as much right now. You know, he had the one time there. Was that last Saturday before the signings of the autographs? And exactly, Hunter. You're right. It was public on Twitter. I think Stoya and other people put it out, but there's no follow-up with what the injury is. That's my complaint.
Jay, and the Gentry Williams stuff, until the coach comes out and, like, there's people already speculating how long he's going to be out. I'm not going to speculate until I read some things about it personally. I will say, as far as what, going back to happiest moments, the 2000 season, Jay, you had the Orange Bowl, but that season was full of Sooner magic. Obviously, you have the Roy Williams play was one of the happiest times. And then last year, DG to Nick Anderson, Jay, that game against Texas last year was up there for me as happiest moments as an OU fan.
Yeah, I mean, there's a handful of games you could say the happiest. I mean, I don't know.
Hey, but Sooner Freak and Bobby, what have you seen? I mean, again, to what extent?
Are we talking about? Wait.
To say someone re-aggravated something doesn't mean he's out for 6 games. That's my point.
Hey, Sooner fan, I wish we could control it. We have no control over it. I wish we did. Promise you. Yeah, sorry, Monty. I'll be the first one to apologize for it. I don't like the commercials either. Nothing I can do about it. So, hey, I understand it's speculation. I mean, I understand what you're saying, Bobby, when you say, is it speculation if we read it? That's not what I'm talking about when I say speculation. My thing is, if a guy's injured, which you know he is, like Jaden Gibson, I mean, we're talking over a week since that was reported, right?
Yes.
So my thing is, if it's known, I mean, how long till they announce how long he's out, right? That's.
I don't know if we're gonna get it, Jay.
I think
Richard wants.
You're in the off season. You're in season, but you're not in like the full game week season, so you don't get to talk to the media as much, probably, and maybe that's why. I don't know.
Richard wants to know what the starting O-line was last night, and again, players were talking to the media 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So there's still things coming from that media session, and I'm sure we'll hear some things, be able to talk more tomorrow night about it, and read some things on that. But Chester, you're right. Hit the like, everybody. Don't be slacking. It helps our channel out more than you know.
Hey, what's up, Jaden?
Kane is back.
Hope you're having a good time and your grandson's having a good time there in North Carolina. Hey, injuries, though, are part of football. And if you're going to win a national championship, for that matter, if you're going to make the playoff, you got to have a lot of luck injury-wise. You can't have big key guys getting injured. Here's my thing, though. I don't know about Gentry Williams as far as injuries or what's going on. I don't know. I have no clue. But I'll say this. For this team to be at their best, I think Gentry Williams needs to be a cornerback and playing. I think he's that good. I think he needs to be a starting cornerback for this team for them to hit what they really need to hit defensively.
Well,
and listen, I know Jacoby Johnson. I think, in fact, Jacoby Johnson, I'm really high on. Also, I've heard multiple things on Des Malone, if he's going to be a guy or not. Also, there's a lot of chatter. People talk about Kenai Walker. I mean, Kenai Walker, he played a lot last year in that role.
He could be big for depth. Gray got asked, how many interceptions do y'all give Jackson on before you're concerned? I'm not concerned yet. How many interceptions are we talking in a single game? Look, this is Jackson Arnold's year. I'll be concerned. I'll be concerned if through the first 4 games, let's see, who's the 4th game? It's Tennessee. Tennessee's the 4th game.
Yeah.
I would say if he has 3 interceptions through 3 games, I'm concerned. That's
it's not even to me the interception. It's going to be a lot to me what I see in the first few games against teams they should be handling and score a lot of points on. Is he accurate? Is he the decision making? Is it good decision making? Is he try to thread it in small places where against good teams defensive backs will get there? That to me is what I'm watching for. And the Tennessee game, to me, Tennessee game is going to make or break the season. No question.
Well, there's a lot of hinge games. That's one. Jay, here's what I would say about Jackson Arnold. I don't think anyone wonders, can he make the throws? I don't really think anyone's maybe even concerned more about accuracy. It's more or less, is he going to make the right decision is what you want to see.
Here's the positive about, I saw Colin's question. Here's the positive about throwing interceptions in practice is Oklahoma should, I repeat, should have one of the better defenses in the SEC. So if he's going up against the ones on defense, now if he's going against 2s or 3s and making those picks, I got concerns big time. But if it's the ones out there making plays, I'm still concerned because it's getting too close to the season. But at the same time, I do think the defense should be ahead of the offense, and they're very talented in defensive wise, especially that back 7, I think.
Yeah.
But you cannot go into this year. I don't think any OU fan, well, maybe you, Jeremy, I don't know. I don't think many OU fans are going in this year saying he's just going to not have any struggle at all. I mean, maybe you think that. I don't think that at all. I think he's going to have some struggles in games.
Well, he's going to have more struggles if the O-line isn't what it needs to be. If the O-line holds up and gives him time, he should have a phenomenal season stat-wise.
Yeah, I mean, he should. He should have a good season. Did you see the I think it was the betting lines or something about yardage from SEC quarterbacks? He was 3rd. So they had him ahead of most quarterbacks. I was like, okay. So they think he's going to throw for a lot of yards.
Yeah, it's not a shock.
And he is. That's right. He's almost he's pretty much a true freshman. And that's a good point, Hookham. If he doesn't struggle at all, that means the O-line had a good year, which means the team has a good year. Exactly. You're right. The defense should have a good year. So if Jackson Arnold has a good year, that's probably the O-line. You're right. But go back to, Hookham's on here, but Quinn Ewers, as a young quarterback, had some struggles. I think most very talented quarterbacks, even in year 1, struggled. Caleb Williams struggled at Oklahoma in year 1, guys. So I expect Jackson Arnold to have a few games where he's not on his A game and he makes some big-time mistakes. You only learn in game situations. You can learn as much as you want in practice. It's not the same speed. It's not the same. Even with OU's defense in practice, number ones, it's not the same speed as a game.
You are actually agreeing with what I said last night when I said practice. Hey, Chester, not Chester, Monty. Monty says less than 10 picks, lots of TDs, and one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC. That's Monty's take. Lori says Manning may leave Texas. I don't think there's any truth to that at all. Now, if he doesn't play at all this year, which he likely won't unless Ewers gets hurt or struggles, I mean, next year is his year at Texas, so why would you leave then?
Colin's asking, would you feel better with about O this year with DG as QB1 if he stayed? We've had this.
Absolutely not.
We've had it so many times.
Absolutely not.
We know the answer to that. And I think Oklahoma, listen, at some point, Jackson Arnold's your guy. So let's go for it. This is it. So got to see it now. That's it. You got to see it.
Gray God says DG, but I'm curious. 2 years he was here and could not really get the job done. Why would we want him here again? I don't. When you got supposedly the guy coming in, quickest draw in the West, a gunslinger.
Yeah, I'm not going to go down that road again tonight.
If DG was here, Jackson Arnold would be gone. It's a fact.
And that's right. Hey, Gray God, you're exactly right. Safety.
I don't want safety.
That's kind of like, what's the safe play? Sometimes you got to take risks. Scared money don't make none, right? And that's
scared money don't make none.
Scared money don't make none. That's exactly right.
We've gone the safe route the last 2 years.
Let me ask you this. If DG would have came back to Oklahoma, is anybody on this live right now picking him to make the playoffs?
Oh, absolutely not.
I'm asking the people in the chat.
I think he might put up great numbers again.
I think there will be a mixed bag here. I think some people will say real.
One thing is I would be concerned with no Levy. That it'd be a whole new system, but the system sounds pretty good.
Scott said he would take DG. Scott, y'all are loaded at quarterback at Tennessee for the next 3 or 4 years. Loaded with talent. 10-2 with DG right there.
And 8-4 Jackson Arnold. So what he's saying is what he's saying is DG is the better quarterback in his opinion. That's fine. You can have that opinion.
Gray God says 8-4 agree with Jackson Arnold. Here's the thing, Hookem. I think this is pretty accurate. Hookem. Maybe they would have one more win. Maybe, I don't know, but it wouldn't be the right move. And I think the end of that's the best thing you said. It wouldn't be the right move. That's right, Hookem. It would not be.
And Scott, I know you're a Tennessee fan.
Bobby says about the same.
Scott, I know you're a Tennessee fan. When you say DG was a winner, he never won anything. They never even made it to the Big 12 championship. It was not all his fault. I get that. But to say he's a winner, like, I love the guy. I think he's a winner in life, and I think he won the Texas game with that drive. But outside of that, like, has he won anything big?
And here's, I'm going to get to this, dude. Lori made a great point, and this is kind of what I was going to talk about. Lori talks about the deep ball. It's kind of like when you have, I don't know a comparison, but you have everything it's great, everything, but there's one aspect that doesn't help you get to the next level. And throwing the deep ball in this offense is a huge part of it. And I think we're going to maybe see that this year, able to stretch the field more, which will open up the running game more, I think. So,
hey, Greg, I can agree with the safety part because honestly, there were times in the last 2 years when DG probably could have lofted one in the air and could have seen if his receiver would go get it one-on-one. He didn't take the risk. He would dump it down. Jackson Arnold's probably going to see if the receivers can go get it, and they got to go make a play.
Hey, real quick, 5.0 King, I agree with this 100%. DG brought experience and really good experience, and that's good, but experience only gets you so far. Jackson Arnold has more potential. I don't know if anybody on this chat that would disagree with that. Would anybody disagree with that?
No. And I want to ask Greg God, and I appreciate Greg God being a Sooner Surge Unlimited member. All you guys that are Sooner Surge Unlimited members in the Discord. Of course, it was insane today on the basketball side of things. But Greg God, I want to know when you say extremely rough year. Explain that. Give me what do you mean by extremely rough year? I'm curious. And I seriously am curious what extremely rough year looks like. Because an extremely rough year to you could be different than what Bobby says. It could be different than what Lori says is extremely rough. It could be different when I say. So I just want you to maybe explain that in the chat, please.
Yeah, and listen, I do think the Hawkins hype is real. I do. But I think Jackson Arnold would have to get injured at all for them to even consider to put Hawkins in over him.
And hey, I want to highlight what Mez just said right now. I want every Sooner fan on here. If Jackson Arnold the next 2 years is 16-7, you're calling for his job.
That's true.
In the SEC, you're calling for his job.
With the
this
tougher
was a
schedule.
Big 12 and he was 16-7. Can we stop? Can we stop about it? No one was calling for DG at 16-7, Jay. They should have been. I don't know why they're wanting DG over Jackson Arnold, who's supposedly supposed to be the guy.
Hey,
I think he is the guy. You know where high I am on him.
To me, my biggest, we've talked about this till we're blue in the face. My biggest complaint about Dylan Gabriel, and I've rewatched 5 games in the last 6 days of last year, and I've seen it over and over again. The safe throws. And you might have a guy that's got 2 or 3 steps on the guy and doesn't run the risk of the throw and throws it down, checks down for a safer throw. That's my only complaint. At the same time, though, you're probably going to have more turnovers from Jackson Arnold because I think he will take a little more risk. How does that equal out in games with SEC? That's what we're going to find out. If you take the risk and you don't get it and don't be successful at it, it could hurt your team in the long run. So, yeah, somebody asked the question, Josh. I don't know. Somebody asked it.
I don't know how we did. Someone asked. Yeah, but I will agree with Bobby and some others. It wasn't all him. I'm just saying, if you're the quarterback, it falls on you, just like you guys are saying it falls on Jackson Arnold right now. It's the same comparison.
And I agree, Scott. I agree with that a lot. You got to know where to do it, and you got to have an experienced guy. I think does help in that situation. So
okay, hey, I've got to say this: if Jackson Arnold throws for 2,800 yards and 15 interceptions, OU will be 7-5.
15 interceptions is a lot of picks.
That's a lot of picks, and that's not that many yards. I don't see any way that's happening.
Hey,
but
real
that's
quick,
me.
Hey, Sooner fan, I get it. The guy looks like a stud. Most of the players on the team, if you're not a lineman, have really low body fat. That doesn't mean a whole lot in football as far as I think performance on the field from a quarterback. But
Jen says that Michael Hawkins looked totally different against number 1 defense.
Like, what do you mean?
I'm assuming not as good as he did against the number 2s, Jay.
Hey, 5-1 team. Wouldn't Casey Thompson be second string ESPN?
I think so. Jay, we're mixed on this, King. We're mixed.
Yeah. You think it's going to be Thompson? I think it's going to be Hawkins.
I'm higher on Thompson as far as, for the same reason that you guys said about the DG Jackson. I think Casey Thompson's a safe pick. I don't know. A lot of it depends on the record, dude. Like, if they're undefeated and Arnold's out for 1 game and they're playing South Carolina, who do you go? You may go the safe route to Arnold. Get so many circumstantial things.
Bobby has him at 3,300 yards with 14 interceptions, but a total of 35 touchdowns. What do you think about that ballpark?
What was that again? Sorry, I changed it.
It was about Jackson.
Oh, I see. 3,300, 14 INTs. I like the 35 TDs. I would like to see more closer to 3,500 yards. I'll go with the 35 TDs, but I would like the interceptions to be 11 or below.
Hey, Tyler, if he does that, they'll be in the playoff.
And he'll be the Heisman Trophy winner.
4,500 yards, 42 touchdowns, that's not happening.
Yeah, Jay, I've heard PJ Adebawore showed out. And again, I'm higher on him than R. Mason Thomas. I'm ready for it to be Downs and PJ Adebawore with Woolard and Thomas giving help, and then Danny Okoye. I want to see him.
And listen,
Hawkins, what?
No, great guy. Only if there's an injury. Only if there's an injury. But.
Yeah, only if there's an injury is Jackson Arnold not going to be the starter. Come on. Like, I don't understand.
I'm not even going to.
I'm curious. No, I'm seriously curious why people are not high on Jackson Arnold. Because of the bowl game? Where he threw for 360 yards?
Yeah, there's one thing. Listen, there's one
with the makeshift line.
There is one thing you can question about Jackson Arnold. There's one thing you can say, I'm not sure on it, and that's my thing, and it is game experience. Jeremy, you got to admit that. That's the only thing you can look at and say decision-making as far as game experience, right?
Okay, yeah.
Talent-wise, he's got it, but he hasn't played enough. That's
I like what King says. It's a scrimmage. We'll see. Oh. And I want to get to Bobby. Bobby, you're right. I do think you're right on this. BV and loyalty go together. And then I want to get to Greg God because he says the more he studies him. What have you studied? Are you talking about the bowl game? I'm still curious.
He may have studied. He may be watching replays of games. I mean,
what film, Jay? What? Are you going to his high school tape?
I mean, he only played a little bit at Oklahoma, so there's not much to look at.
I'm seriously curious. What film? Like, again, we saw what he did in the bowl game. He threw a couple balls in the bowl game that were better than anything that had been thrown all year off his back foot, rolling out, Brett Favre-esque. I'm curious what you're saying you've studied, and now you're more concerned. What have you studied? Please, enlighten me with this information. Hey, I'm curious. I want to go study it.
Hey, one thing I want to say about 5.0 King, I agree with this. And I think it's typical, though. OU fans, it's a monster. OU football is a monster. If you say somebody got a sack in a scrimmage, he's the next defensive end going to be in the Heisman Trophy consideration at defensive end. People are going to overreact to scrimmages, okay? I've said it for the last 3 or 4 months. I'm not taking anything until I see him on the field against Temple. And that's just me personally. I got to see it on the field against Temple to give me a visual of this year's team. Now, do I have great hope and great positive confidence? I do. I think it's going to be a really good team. But I don't take a whole lot from scrimmages either. So,
well, I will take what people are saying, though, and again, you can buy it or you can sell it, but I'm buying it because of veteran leadership. I'm buying it because of depth. When they say the defense is ahead of the offense, that should be for one. And to me, it also shows that they could be as good as advertised, and I hope that's the case. That's what everyone's been wanting. Greg God says bowl game, high school tape, practice tape. Is there practice tape?
Probably videos off Twitter, man. Just
I'm bowl game. There was one game, and I saw some great things there, and I saw some things that, but it was his first game. High school, I think Moosehead dropped his high school stats in there earlier, and they were phenomenal, weren't they? 3 interceptions, like 33. I don't know. Hey, PJ Adebawore, Jay. People were saying had a good scrimmage, blew up a drive. How many sacks for a good D-line? Again, I'm going to go back to what Dan Cody said. When they had 4 guys on edge get 30 sacks that year, I think it was 2000, Jay, or it was 2001 maybe. But you've got to get 20 sacks. I think that's a doable number. And the whole thing is this. If PJ Adebawore and Caden Woolard and R. Mason Thomas and Ethan Downs and Danny Okoye, if these guys are getting pressure, the other guys like Stutzman, Kip Lewis, McKenzie, Canick, Deshaun McCullough, they're going to be all over things coming up the middle. The more pressure your D-line gets, the better the linebackers. It all goes hand in hand. The less great your secondary has to be. You don't have to cover for as long. So
we can talk about offense all we want, but I think Jimmy's 100% correct.
Yeah.
Go look at the last 10 years, national championship winners. What's the common theme?
Well, Michigan was great defense and great ball control offense. Georgia was the same.
The common theme is most of them have top-rated defenses.
Yes.
So, I mean,
I
that's a
think
fact.
OU
That's a
needs
fact.
him.
Nobody's going to argue with me on that. That's a fact. I dare somebody to try to argue with me on that.
OU needs to improve 20 spots on total defense, and that's the number I said that I really think they can easily.
Yeah. And you're right, Sooner fans. Sacks against a good team is not the main goal. I've said this before, too, and I'm going to say it again. I think this year's defense will be more aggressive. Now, obviously, it does depend on if you're healthy, but I do think they will have way more aggression on defense. And it comes with a few things. It comes with maybe the philosophy's changed with maybe the talent you have on the back end. Maybe you feel like you can bring extra guys. I think that's part of it. I also think, hey, you're in the defense for some of these guys in their defense for the third year. It's like, you know where you're supposed to be, right? It makes a difference.
And Steve Stutzman says Danny told him that they had 43 sacks a day. That might be embellished. But here's what I'm going to say, because I heard other people say today, oh, Jackson Arnold threw some picks, but I know there was some pressure. Look, the more sacks that this defense has in scrimmages and the tougher they make it on Jackson Arnold is so much better for Jackson Arnold. Like, I think the tougher they make it, and if they're going ones against ones all day, that's what I say. Because when it comes game time, the offense will be ready. The O-line's going to be better, and Jackson Arnold's going to be better.
Hey, Gray God, listen, real quick. Okay.
Too much hype.
You say I feel like this team is getting way too much hype as well. The way y'all talk about this team, they should be 11-1. Hey, Gray God.
What?
Gray God, how can you say that? But then some people are picking Georgia to lose 2 games. It's a hard schedule. Just because you have a really good defense doesn't mean you're going to go 11-1. They could, but that doesn't mean they're going to. Listen, this defense, you can say hyping it up. Look who all they got coming back. I mean, what do you want us to say, that they're not going to be very good? I mean, why would I say that when I think they're going to be good? I'm not like overhyping it.
First off, Jay,
Greg, where do you have them ranked defensively this year going into the year? You don't think they're going to be very good?
Let me respond, Jay, because I do want to get Sooner Cowboy agrees with Greg God that he's not buying the hype. Got to see it too. And I agree. There's part of me that says you've got to see it. However, if you just say, what are they bringing back? How much did they improve last year? Do you guys realize from year 1 to year 2, they improved significantly? They were way better in short yardage. They had way less bust on deep balls. And then you bring in Zach Alley, and you have every single person back, along with better depth because of the recruiting. How would I not think they're going to be better? I don't understand.
Real quick, Bobby, Greg God, about nationally and need to see it. I understand.
I get that.
I get the need to see it. There's OU fans have been burned. Okay. I understand that completely, Bobby, and other people on here that are saying that. I totally understand it. You need to see it because it seems like they haven't had a great defense in a long time. But you have to admit, from year 1 to year 2, they made strides. They got the majority of the guys they need back, and they added better players out of the portal in key positions. I mean, I understand you need to see it, but how can you not have any positive? You don't think they're going to be good defensively? I mean, I don't understand that at all. Where do you think they're going to be ranked SEC-wise? Do you not think they're going to be top 4 SEC and defense, top 3?
I'm waiting to see what they rank them. Where do you have OU's defense ranked in the SEC, Jay?
I think they'll be 2 or 3.
I'm with you.
Overall defense, I think they'll be 2 or 3.
Total defense, I think Georgia, outside of Georgia, and a lot of people say Bama, and that's good. I mean, let's say Bama. If you say it, how are they? If you got them ranked out of the top 5 in the SEC, I'm not sure, unless you're just a negative Nancy, like how you could put them outside of the top 5 in the SEC.
Who would you put them below besides Georgia and Bama? Who else? Ole Miss? What have they done defensively?
I mean, they got guys out of the portal, but outside of, again, even if you put Ole Miss there, OU's right there.
No, answer this question. Ole Miss, okay, what have they done recently? Not a whole lot. Missouri? You going to put them below Missouri?
No, I'm not, Jay.
Georgia and Bama are the only 2 you can, or maybe now Texas, if you want to switch Texas and Bama and put OU 3, I just think Texas lost a lot up front. So, but I think 2 or 3, I don't think that's overhyping it.
No, again, I like 3. I would even go with 4, depending on who you have there. Nationally in 60s, SEC 5th. So who are the 4 ahead of them is my question, Greg God. I'd be curious who you got ahead of them.
Ricky, I don't think they'll be as quick this year on offense, personally. I don't know that, but I just don't think they will.
I think they'll be quick in spurts, but I'm not sure they're going to be totally as quick on offense as they were as far as fast-paced.
Chuck, the 21st, I'm sticking with my 55% OU Lance Fasusi.
I'm still at 68% for Fasusi.
Hey, I need to get to the trivia, though, for tonight. Trivia question. Here we go. Check out the fan stop first, www.thefanstop.com. When you get there, sign up for the Shirt of the Month Club. 10% off your first 3 months when you use code SURGE. Make sure you do that. Check
next week.
What's that?
Spinning the wheel next week.
That's right. August 15th, we're spinning the wheel for the tickets to the OU Houston game, which will be the throwback uniforms. But here we go. Here's the trivia question tonight. Last year's game is against UCF. I watched the game today. Everybody knows that Kendall Dolby made the play on the 2-point conversion. But here's the question. Who recovered the onside kick for Oklahoma to seal the deal that game? What player recovered the onside kick for Oklahoma against UCF last year to seal the deal? If you remember right, there was a little bit of bobble in the scrum for it. Who came up with it?
Bobby, I do agree with that, and I agree with everything you said there. Monty, I am negative.
There it is. Jenna James with the point tonight. Austin Stogner barely got ahead of Bobby Wiley there. Whew. Barely got ahead of you there, Bobby. Good job, Jenna. Thank you. Your name will be on the wheel for the ticket drawing. So good job. Appreciate you joining tonight.
Colin, I would definitely go to Jordan Hare over the Zoo.
Spin it to win it. Hey,
spin it to win. It's happening next week, Jay.
I know you're not buying the Missouri hype. I think there's some that are and some aren't, but I agree. You look at the top 4 defenses in the SEC, I think it's going to be Georgia, Alabama, Texas, and OU. I'm not sure the order of it, but I think those are the 4.
And Texas lost some dudes.
They did. I agree.
They lost some dudes at Texas.
They did. Some up front guys. So, what is the one position on defense? And I'm asking this to the viewers, not specifically you, Jeremy. I just kind of want the viewers, especially the ones that are kind of concerned, or maybe not concerned, but just not bought in yet. What is the one position you're worried about as a weakness on that defense? Is it edge? Is it interior defensive line? Is it linebacker? Is it safety? Is it corner? What is it that is making I need to see it? Is it the big plays they've allowed, maybe? Is that what it is? I mean,
it's past. It's past, Jay.
Past.
It's things of the past, I think, is what Sooner fans are tired of. The past. They want to see it because they've been talked up before and they haven't come through. But
now Scott says this. You guys will struggle stopping the run, in my opinion.
BVs usually do not struggle against the run.
5.0.
And OU is better in the middle of the line this year. Quarterback scrambles.
Seeing all of it. Now,
scrambles is an issue.
Quarterback scrambles from another team. Now, I will say the first game in the SEC against Tennessee will be interesting with their quarterback, the young guy who can run and throw. That'll be a good test. That'll be a really good test.
Absolutely.
Edge. Yes, Scott.
Absolutely better in the middle.
Absolutely. I mean, as you know from Tennessee, DeJohn Terry's back another year. He's a good player. And then they got Dominique Williams out of the transfer portal, who everybody wanted. He's in the middle, along with all the guys they have back. And they got 2 freshmen that are really good, David Stone and Jaden Jackson up the middle. They got some players up the middle, Scott, more than they've had before. I think everybody would agree to that. So that's a positive thing.
Yeah.
All I know is linebacker and pass rush will be the strength. Can we stop the run? Okay. That's when I talked about the guys they lost in the middle. They were beasts in the middle. Sweat and I lost Drew Blank on the other guy, but Sweat was a beast in the middle.
Yeah, Tennessee's secondary is the weak part of there. If OU can get after that, but guys, yeah, Matt, OU is starting to stack some dudes. Been a long time since they've done that. I agree. Listen, it's been great tonight. It's been very great tonight. Appreciate everyone that's been on here. Thanks for rolling on the comments like you always do. It's been fun as always, even though there's been disagreements. It's been fun as always. That's what happens every single night on the Sooner Surge, and it'll happen again tomorrow night. Again, we're less than a week away from spinning the wheel and seeing who's going to win the tickets to the OU Houston game. Thanks so much. You can do us a big favor right now. Listen, big favor. Just hit the like before you exit. Hit the like. It helps our channel more than anything. We appreciate you all. Thanks to the Tennessee fans, the Texas, everyone who's been on here. We appreciate it. We'll see you tomorrow night. Have a great Sunday.